Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. So welcome to our Saturday morning session. There has been a gap of 3 weeks continuously, which is quite unusual, but we will, recover from that, and we shall continue on our journey of Kathopanishad. Now we are in Valli 3 of chapter 1. There are 2 chapters in this Upanishad, and each chapter has 3 Vallis. Now, Valli 3 of chapter 1 is, I would say, one of the deepest signs of the human constitution. How the human constitution works, what it is, and how we can regulate it. All these methods are mentioned in this Valli. So the first we saw that the human body has been compared with a chariot. That the human body is like a chariot. The horses of the chariot are like the sense organs. They keep pulling this body here and there in different pastures. So the pulling and pushing continues by the horses. And the horses are attracted by the pastures, which is basically the objects in this world. The various objects in this world, they keep pulling our sense organs. Like the horses are pulled by the pastures around them. So that is the first section. Then it says that there is a rope, which controls the horses, which is called rein, or which is actually to regulate the horses and their movement. And that is compared to our mind. Mind is the rein that controls our sense organs. And then the rope is controlled by the sarthi, by the charioteer, the person who is actually the driver of the chariot, not charioteer, the driver of the chariot. And that is our intellect. So the intellect, controls our mind. Mind controls sense organs. And the sense organs are driven by sense objects into this world. There are a lot of temptations, a lot of seductions which are offered to them, and that's how it continues. And then the charioteer is the soul, which is sitting in the chariot, but totally unaware of all that is happening. So that charioteer is actually not very active, it's very passively sitting there. All the actions are done by the driver and the ropes and the horses and the attractions outside. So that is the first, explanation, very deep and profound explanation of the human constitution. Then subsequently, it talks about the prowess or the power or the controlling, I would say power of each of these different constituents of our human body. So then it talks about, that is the verse number 8 and 9. Rather 10 and 11. These are the 2 mantras. Then which it talks about Indrabhya para artha arthabhyasya para manam. That, the sense objects are more powerful than the senses, because they are able to attract senses here and there. And then it says that the mind is more powerful than the senses. And the intellect is, that is manastu parabuddhi. Intellect is more powerful than the mind. And then the Atma is beyond intellect. It is more powerful than the intellect. Then it also talks about things which are constituting the universe, that Mahat Tattva, that element of Mahatva, is coming from Avyakt, that is Avyakt is, is subject to the control of the Purus. So the Purus is the most important, or the sole controller of this entire universe. So it goes to the Purus, then Avyakt, then Mahat Tattva, and then goes down to, human soul and human intellect, and then human mind, and then sense objects, and then sensage, and then the body complex. So this has been a very, very, I would say, deep analysis of human constitution given in this Valli. Now we are coming to even more interesting, part in this Valli. How do we manage this as a person who is following the journey of spirituality? How do we move in that path? The movement of that path is now explained. So we will go to mantra number 12 and 13. 12 is like this. एस सर्वेषु भूतेषु गुणोत्तमा न प्रकाशते दृश्यते त्वग्रेयया बुद्धया सूक्ष्मया सूक्ष्म दर्शिvi. It says that this soul is, it's so good. Good means it's hidden. It's hidden in such a way that it is, though it is living in everybody's heart, people are not able to feel it, not able to realize it, not able to understand it. Now, in fact, Anahat chakra is the where the soul remains, and that it is called Anahat because of this region. That there is no Ahat. Ahat means, you knock on the door. Like other chakras, they all give you Ahat. But this chakra does not give you any art. So you don't even feel that the soul is existing anywhere. You conveniently and comfortably ignore it. Some of them ignore it for the rest of their lives, for the entire lives, without realizing that there's anything called soul. So this is what this says, that this is hidden in such a way that it is not, easy for anybody to understand it and to realize it. How it can be realized? It can be realized only suksham darsibhi. Those people who can penetrate, who have very, sharp intellect, whose intellect is extremely sharp. Only those people can actually understand it, feel it, see it. That is possible. So this mantra makes the background that how do we see it? What is the procedure? What is the sadhana? What is the actual process through which we can see this soul? And that is explained in mantra number 13. Mantra number 13 is actually the deepest mantra for our sadhana. It is what we call, nididhyasan. We have been talking about this word nididhyasan. So this is the mantra meant for nididhyasan. This also actually incorporates the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, the 8 paths or 8 steps given by Patanjali for reaching the state of samadhi. That is incorporated into this mantra. So let's see this mantra. Yache dvansamani pragyaste acche jan atmani. Now it says that a person with good intellectual, pragya, person who has good intellect, what he should do? He should actually control his vak. Vak is the vani. But here the vak represents all the sense organs. Vak is the most important of the sense organs, of the 10 sense organs, but it actually is representing all the sense organs, five senses of perception and five senses of action. Everything which we actually feel, we see, we perceive is ultimately reflected in vak, in our vani, in our expressions, in our voice which we express, if with the sentences we say. That is what is vak is. But vak here actually means all the sense organs put together. So it says that a person who has developed his intellect, which we have talked earlier, that the intellect should be very, penetrating. It should be sharp. It should be without any impurities. It should be what we call suddh, absolutely. No impurities anywhere. Then in that case, the sense organs should be actually put inside the mind. The sense organs should collectively put inside the mind. Like Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita has said, जैसे कछुआ अपने अंगों को समेट लेता है, exactly in the same way, the sense organs are put together, bundled together, and kept in the port of mind. Now, how is that possible? The sense organs are the one which are doing own entire business with the world. They are the one which are conducting all the transactions. The sight is looking after what to see, how to see, when to see. eh. The ear are very keen what to listen, when to listen. The smell, the nostrils are keen what to smell, when to smell. These are directing the objects are directing our senses. Our touch, the skin, they feel what to touch, how to do, what can be done. So the sense organs are conducting the business in this world. The sight is seeing, the ears are listening, nostrils are smelling, the skin is touching, the tongue is tasting, and then also the action, the hands are doing action, the feet are doing action. All those senses of action are also operating in this world. So the operations are in this world happening because of these transactions by the sense organs. So it says that sense organs are very good in transacting. They are seduced. They are attracted. They are becoming what you call, they can be activated by the outside objects in the world. And that activation should stop, and all the sense organs should, be put together like the kachwa puts his, organs together inside his body, and then we put them like in the mind. So this is the first step, how to regulate the sense organs and how to stop their transactions in the world. Now the transactions in the world happens because of so many attractions around us. There are a lot of attractions. And that is why it's not easy to stop these transactions. Every time, you find new attractions and your sense organs get activated because of that. So the idea is that how do you regulate the sense organs and put them in the mind? That is the first step of nididhyasana. That is that the objects which are attracting senses, we should not engage with them. That is one part. And by not engaging, we would be putting our sense organs to some sort of regulatory mechanism. We don't have to control them. We have to just regulate the system. And by that, you bring the sense organs into the mind. So that is the first step. The second step, it says that Jnane Atmani, Mansi Yachet. Then you bring your mind. Mind is very volatile. It's like the wind, keep flowing all the time. It goes sometime in childhood. It brings the memories which you can't imagine. It all of a sudden, you know, you get certain memories which come from nowhere. You never thought that it can come in your mind. So the memories keep coming. Oh, ancient memories. Then you keep projecting for the future. Oh, what can happen in the future? Uh, you know, uh, for example, somebody can imagine that if tomorrow there's a war and I'm not able to, get cooking gas, what will happen in my kitchen? And then how will I cook? All kinds of imaginary things keep happening in the mind. Some people who don't have enough money, they say, how will I survive tomorrow if I fall sick, if I fall this? So it takes in the future, it goes in the past. Sometimes it also remains in the present, but it keeps, vacillating. The vacillation is one character of mind. The mind is never stable. It is, if you, observe your mind sometimes, you will find that's constantly running. It is said that the mind is the fastest running object in this universe. In a second, it can reach moon. In another second, sun. In another second, it can go to New York. In third second, it can go to Mumbai. You know, it is faster than any aeroplane, any missile, any other thing in this universe. So it is all the time, constantly, on the move, and it takes you everywhere. So you have to regulate the mind. Once the sense organs are inside the mind will already be stabilizing a bit. The stabilization will happen automatically. But then if you can observe the mind and its volatility, its movement, its volatility and movement, then slowly, slowly, you can bring the mind to the intellect. Mind can be, brought to the intellect. Now, intellect means then you will think rationally, you will think objectively, you will analyze things. You will not be carried by the mind. फिर मनमानी नहीं चलेगी, मन की मानी नहीं चलेगी. Then you will be powered by intellectual power. So the intellectual prowess is very, very important there. The intellectual prowess uh, should be guiding the mind, and by uh, reducing the volatility and the movement of mind, you can bring it to the mind, to the intellect, and bring within the sphere of analysis, thought, a considered opinion, a rational opinion, a view which has been formed after due analysis of facts and figures. Then you will not do things which are totally, without any thinking. Most of the time, what happens is that we do think, we do indulge in activities without thinking, without even considering the consequences. So that will stop if we can, prevail over the mind through our intellect. The intellect should uh, be able to store the mind in itself. So first bring the sense organs into the mind, then mind into the intellect. These are the two steps. And sense organs can come into mind only when you are able to, understand the nature of sense objects. Sense objects are attracting the senses all the time. And that nature we must understand. That, these seductive advertisement, these seductive offers, all kinds of pictures which we see on variety of media outlets these days, all these are seducing our sense organs, and then sense organs are not able to remain under our control, under our regulation. So we should understand the nature of sense objects. Then we bring the senses into the parameter of the mind, and then mind into the sphere of intellect. So these are the three steps we have to do first. And then it talks about Mahati Atmani, that is Jnanam Mahati Atmani. Then the intellectual prowess, the intellect of the person, should then be taken to the soul. It should be, going into the sphere of soul, where you have the wisdom, the rationality, the analysis comes to an end, and the wisdom takes over, because the soul is the depository of wisdom. So the steps after putting the mind into the uh, sphere of intellect, the intellect should be put into the sphere of the soul. It's the backward journey. It's the journey backward to the soul. And then your soul will gather strength. You will realize what the soul is. Now, to understand this, we must understand that everything in our body complex is operating because of the presence of the soul. As soon as the soul leaves the body, your sense organs don't work, your intellect doesn't work, your mind doesn't work, because they are actually rendered non-operational completely. So the power of the soul is realized only when we are able to put them back to the soul. All these things are emanating from the soul, and they should go back to the soul. Then only we will become, wise human being. We will become full of wisdom, and that wisdom will bring the peace. That wisdom will not distract us because of these attractions of the world, because of the attractions and seduction of the sense objects in this world. So this is the process. And then it goes even a step further. It says that Atma should also be taken to the Mahat Tattva. The Atma should merge into the Mahat Tattva. Now, this is very important to understand. So first we regulate our senses, we regulate our mind, and then we use our intellect for doing this. And once we have brought the sense organs and the mind into the sphere of our intellect, then intellect should merge with the soul. So that is one big process. Now, merging soul with Mahat Tattva, what is that? Mahat Tattva, as we saw last time, is also called Hiranyagarbha. It is the beginning of manifest universe. Like, when you put the seed in the earth, you see the seed is start swelling, and that is the beginning of the manifestation of the tree, the swelling of the seed. Now, Mahat Tattva is something like swelling of the seed. So the Mahat Tattva is pervading the entire universe. It is a collective intellect of the entire universe. And if we can merge into collective universe of the entire universe, then the individuality will dissolve. It's like a drop getting into the ocean, then the drop becomes the ocean. The individuality of drop is completely finished. Exactly the same way, here, what we do is that the individual souls dissolve into Mahat Tattva, means the universal intellect. And that is actually very well characterized the unity of the entire universe. Then the distinction between you and me start diminishing and finally disappearing. Then you consider the whole universe as one single entity. Once your soul dissolves into Mahat Tattva, then because Mahat Tattva pervades the entire universe, and therefore you pervade the entire universe. And that is the stage where we can call it Aham Brahmasmi. Then you become Brahma, Tattvamasi, you become the Supreme Lord, because you are now dissolved into Mahat Tattva. You have risen from minor sense action to the mind. Mind is larger than the sense action, then the intellect, and then the soul. Even souls are individual. This is actually we can call millions and trillions of souls. But then, like these are like fragments of water. That water ultimately dissolves into the ocean, and they all become ocean. So exactly Mahat Tattva is like the ocean of this universe, from where everything emanates, from where the diversity comes. This is what we call uniformity to diversity. So this uniformity comes into your character. Then you stop telling yourself as I am different from the rest. Then then you start seeing everybody like you, and you start seeing the universal soul in everybody. Yeah? Bhagavad Gita may also Lord Krishna says that then the distinction between you and the universe disappears. You become the universe. In fact, Atmavat sarvbhutesu ye paschati sa paschati. Then you start looking at everybody like your own self, and everybody in yourself. And that is everybody in yourself means that you become the Brahma, you become the creator, you become the supreme power. And that Aham Brahmasmi comes from there. So this mantra 13, this mantra is the mantra of sadhana. How we bring, first how we understand the sense objects which are in this world, which are pulling the horses, which are pulling our senses. How to understand them. And after understanding them, we don't allow our senses to transact business with these objects. The business should stop. The sense organs having constant business with the world should stop, should come to an end at some stage. You only remain confined to the essential requirements for your body needs. That's it. And then these senses are dissolved into the mind, and mind with senses is dissolved into the intellect, and then intellect is dissolved into the soul, and then the soul is dissolved into the Mahat Tattva. So this is the backward journey which we perform. This journey will actually enable us to become the supreme power, to realize the supreme, that you are part of that. It will enable us to become from drop to ocean. It will enable us to become from a small little house to the entire Akash. It is also there. The Akash is one single entity spread over everywhere. And we cherish that small little house in which we live. So we come out of that house and we live in the open sky. Like, the nomadic people live in so many countries. I've seen them in Mongolia. They live with the whole open sky. They feel that whole universe is part of their existence. So that is possible only when we perform this backward journey. The most visible, most tangible aspect are the sense objects, then the senses, then the mind, then the intellect, and then the soul, and then from soul you go to Mahat Tattva, which is like the Hiranya Garbh, and you become the place from where everything originates. So this is in modern era, they also call it a backward journey to, you know, to your origin, from where you came from. You come from the Hiranyagarbha. We all read in our Shastras that from Hiranyagarbha everything originated. That Hiranyagarbha is also known as Mahat Tattva. It is more or less the same thing. Mahat Tattva, when it slightly, the first step of fructification is Hiranyagarbha. And then it fructifies further and further and further. And the one single entity of this universe then turns into millions and trillions of different entities. Like the five elements which constitute the physical world, they are the one which give rise to all types of species of life, the bodies of the species. They give rise to all kinds of fruits and vegetables. For example, you have, turai, you have ghia, loki, you have ladyfinger. They are very different, all different. But ultimately, their ingredients are all coming from the same five, gross elements of nature. And once you destroy them, they dissolve into the same five elements. So they are so different from each other. The apple is so different than compared to orange, or orange is so different compared to, ananas, or ananas is so different compared to, some other fruit. But when they dissolve back into the same five gross elements, and they come from the same five gross elements. Exactly the same way, our body system, our body constitution uh, dissolves back into Mahat Tattva. And then the process of Nididhyasan is complete. Then you reach the state of Samadhi. Then you remain unperturbed. Nothing happening in this world disturbs you anymore. You are established in yourself. You are eternally content. You are blessed. You are blissed. You are achieved what you call eternal happiness or the bliss. Because after this process has been completed successfully, nothing in the world is going to disturb you. You remain fully, firm, fully established, and you are like, you have in the tire, you have the central part, axis. That axis is stable, and the tire keeps rolling all around it. It happens with all the machines. There's an axis in the center which remains static, and everything else rotates. So then you become the axis and the world rotates around you. Right now you are rotating with the world. We are all the time, dragged, driven and pushed and pulled, bringing the happiness, unhappiness, pain, pleasure, day, night, all these things keep coming and going because we are rotating like a wheel all the time. But once you become the axis, you don't rotate. Everybody else rotates around you. So that is what this mantra tells you. Then you become the axis of this world, of this universe. And then the world rotates around you. You just look at them, you just watch it beautifully. So once you start watching the world rotating, once you start watching this Maya changing its dimension, I was just analyzing the other day and the difference between the Gen Z of today and my childhood or my time when I was 15, 17, 18 years old. This tremendous difference. My thinking was so different than the people think today on the same age. That change has happened. Now, once you stabilize, the change will happen around you, but you will only observe the change. You will not be part of the change. The change will happen because of you. Because if there's no axis, the wheel cannot move. The axis is like the soul, which keeps our body, intact and alive and operating. Similarly, the axis keeps the wheel moving. If there's no axis, the wheel cannot move. Exactly the same way, once we return back to Mahat Tattva, then that rotation stops. We only watch the rotation. We only, what you call, watch the play which is happening around us. Then we are the observers, we are the drashta, and we are not neither the bhokta or nor the karta. We go away from the bhokta and karta part and we become drashta, we become the observer. So I thought we will, close our session here today because these two mantras, 12 and 13, 12 simply says that though everybody has a soul, it is hidden so much inside us that most of the people don't feel its existence. And only those who have what we call suksham buddhi, very sharp intellect, only they can feel its existence. Others don't even feel. And you will see this in this world. 99% people do not feel this existence. They are so much, engaged in this world constantly that they don't know whether there's anything called soul existing in their own self. That is the truth. When you observe it very carefully, you will find that this is the truth. And then it says how you do the backward journey, how you realize your own self, and how you merge yourself, the individual soul, the Jivatma, into Paramatma. That is, once you reach the state of Atma, then you go to Mahat Tattva or you know, the universal soul, or we can call it Paramatma, or you can call it by any other name. So this is the journey we should perform, and that is what is required to be done by each one of us if we want to gradually move to the uh, real spiritual path. So I think this Valli number 3 of this Upanishad is fantastic. All the three things which have been mentioned, in fact, these things have indirectly come in Bhagavad Gita as well. So Nididhyasan is the final, I would say, exercise which we need to do to reach that state. And this is similar to, the path propounded by sage Patanjali, who talked about, niyam, and then, you know, he reaches from what you call, uh, the eightfold path. I'm forgetting all the words right now, but you go to, asana, you go to uh, pranayam, and then you go to dharana, then you go to pratyahar, pratyahar, then dharana, and then you go to, finally to samadhi. So though that 8-step path is actually explained in this particular mantra of Kathopanishad. So thank you very much. We will meet again on next Saturday. I'm sorry for, long gap in our sessions during the last 3 weeks, particularly because of travel and then also because of 15th August. So we will continue our journey as regularly as possible. Thank you.